The economy grew just 2.8% in the first quarter, raising questions over inflation, the policy rate, and the government's growth target. Economist Jonathan Ravelas joins us now. Good afternoon, Jonas. Welcome to Business 360.
Good afternoon, Apa.
Jonathan, is a 2%, 2.8% GDP growth a worst-case scenario given current circumstances, or could growth be even slower?
Well, I guess this is just, again, we're just seeing the first hit of the Middle East conflict. So unless we see a counterpart coming from government in terms of spending, definitely second quarter could still post a much lower rate, closer to 2.5%. So again, this is really a challenging problem for the government and the BSP.
Yeah, but the government has announced that it's going to spend lots of money, right?
Well, basically, sure, we're starting to see the acceleration of their spending in their last data. However, it takes time for the economy to probably see it. And most likely, we will see that by the end of probably the earliest would be the end of the second quarter. So I'm being realistic that, it's not saying I'm going to spend today and, things are going to get better. And you also have this accountability issue that people are still waiting for what new steps are with what the government is doing to probably ensure that there's no corruption.
Yeah. What are your own projections for second quarter and full year GDP? Do you have some kind of projections already?
Oh, yeah. Basically, my base case is actually at a 4% full year GDP growth. So that's actually the middle, or shall I say the baseline of the view. It could still worsen to around 3.8%, depending on hopefully the second half of the year that, hopefully government really starts spending. And my assumption is that, this Middle East conflict could probably last between 3 to 9 months. So again, we're counting on government to offset consumption at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. What would have to change for the government to still hit its pre-crisis growth targets, which were 5 to 6%?
Okay, I think there are a lot of things the government can do at this point in time. The first really is to assure the public that food prices will remain stable. And again, the transmission mechanisms are already in place with Kadiwa. The only thing that we need to be able to do is to make it more accessible to more people, from twice a month to probably every week, and encourage other food manufacturers to take part in it and seek the help of the private sector. The second is eventually work on the transport sector to be able to probably fast track our move to EV, especially for the jeeps. Just like how the economy eventually moved to digitalization 2.0 when the pandemic came. So this time, this Middle East conflict is pushing us for an energy upgrade, so to speak.
Do you see more BSP rate hikes in the near future? Perhaps an off-cycle move?
Well, basically, yes. Most likely, the situation would probably call for more hikes this year, and probably the policy rate would probably be within the 5.75 to 6% by end of the year.
Yeah, the crisis magnifies the BSP's tough choice, which is fight inflation with interest rates at the expense of slow GDP growth, or allow slightly higher inflation to support growth. This government seems to favor the first path. And this has been predictable, which I suppose is good. Are you yourself satisfied with the response of the BSP?
Well, I think the BSP has done a great job, especially with the currency volatility.
Yeah.
I think they were quick enough to manage where the currency is. If we were to compare, at worst, we were at around 4.5% depreciation, probably compared to an Indonesia or an India that has depreciated by 11 to 13%. I think the BSP has done its job. I think the only thing really is the challenge as as the BSP tries to weigh in inflation containment and slower growth. I think from the BSP side, a combination, again, and this is what the government and the BSP has done. In the past, we have a little bit of inflation containment on monetary policy, but we saw more heavy lifting on the part of government in trying to mitigate the impact of inflation. So whether they're into subsidies, adjustment of tariffs, so we need to be able to, again, move faster at this point in time.
Are we asking the BSP to actually solve problems that should be addressed through fiscal policy reform?
No, I think from the BSP perspective, it needs a balancing act. But basically, the heavy lifting should be done by government.
Okay.
So I think that it's just that in the past we've always seen the immediate, and it's faster for monetary policy to be used. Again, interest rates are not used to probably make a quick fix, but it actually allows people like you and me to think, are we going to spend or are we going to save? So these are things that what the adjustment on monetary policy is. But again, it's not the solution. It's just helping to probably slow down the rise of inflation while government has a little bit of leeway to be able to fast track their fiscal strategies.
Are we actually risking stagflation, in which we get both slow growth and high inflation?
Well, basically, I think a 5% unemployment rate is still manageable on the part of the Philippines. So basically, we're seeing sign, but we're not there yet. So we can still get out of this. As I think the key word or that the government should do is speed over perfection. We don't need big ticket strategies. We need to probably try to filter down on low-lying fruits. And just like what I said, using the Kadiwa, which used to be just twice a month, make it weekly, and tell everybody that there are a lot of things available in the store, and that helps create a perception that government is on top of prices. So that, I think, is important at this point in time. Investors, the public are worried about the rising oil price because we're not seeing the government really on top of the situation.
Well, how are we doing compared to our neighbors in addressing this crisis?
Oh, well, basically, we used to be the second or the fastest growing economy. We're now the slowest economy. I guess it's really a challenge for government, especially in addressing the energy issues, which has confounded over the past years. And we were already suffering from high energy prices, and we're not doing about it. So unlike in the 70s, we had an energy resilience plan. We were almost to the end of that plan by firing up the Bataan nuclear power plant, and eventually we did not. So as compared to other peers, we're now trying to see what other countries have done compared to what we were doing in the 70s, presenting our energy resilience plan. We had a good mix of hydro, we had a good mix of geothermal, and of course, the typical diesel and bunker fuel.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Jonas Ravelas, and we look forward to your updates every day.
All right, thank you.